think he's a bum.
All right, welcome back to Road Ahead here with Ty. We are on and officially have our rosters here. The draft is complete. 6 long hours of hard work. Free agency period over. Preseason's just about done. We're going to go over some rosters we like, a roster we dislike, and some matchups we're looking forward to next week. We have a big interview that we'll be posting tomorrow with the money game, Josh and Teo. We got a lot of exciting information from there. And then next week we'll have Eagles versus Vikings. Darius and Jeremy on next week. We're going to talk a little bit about Jeremy today as well.
Ty.
To take it off here.
Yeah, so we had a very long draft, very, very, very long draft. Didn't think it was going to go that long. I did fall asleep for about 3 rounds, I want to say, which was probably 3 rounds felt like it was 3 hours. Fell asleep in those 3 rounds, but outside of that, I thought we had a lot of teams that went straight offense. We had a lot of teams that went straight defense. There's just a few that I really liked that stood out to me that were just a little bit balanced. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know how people communicated with you, but I didn't get really any messages from the people that I brought in that said, hey, I'm not drafting anymore. So might be the reason it took a little bit longer.
In the second half, like around pick 13, we had 8 people leave. And then by pick 16, I want to say 12 people had left by then. The draft flew. The last 10 picks, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I thought we were going to be done at 2 a.m. or so. I was getting so worried. I was jumping TV to TV, phone. I had to mark all the teams that were. Dude, the draft is so hard for me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm just glad that no one asked me out of my brothers, like, hey, I got to run somewhere for this pick. Because I was like, dude, I'm not moving. Don't ask me to do anything. I'm glad I ate dinner beforehand, so I wasn't sitting there hungry either. Because, man, that was a long time.
Yep. I'm not excited to announce this, but the Browns, I haven't heard from Cameron Phillips in over a week. Browns are going to now open up as well as the Jaguars. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jaguars here in a moment. Let's get right into our roster analysis. Ty, I know you picked a couple teams that you like. I was going to let you talk a little bit about that here.
Yeah, do you want to do? You want to go 1-1 and then, or what do you want to do?
Let's go 1-1. You start off.
Cool. 1-1. I'm going to start with my favorite team in this draft. I think it just because it fits my style would be the Philadelphia Eagles. I forgot that's Jeremy Brown,
Yep.
If I'm correct. I thought he had by far my favorite draft. He started off with Desmond. I mean, you look at his roster, obviously you get QB first, Desmond Ridder. He's fast. I don't know how the accuracy is. I've never personally played with him. I heard he's an average quarterback. He's okay to deal with.
91 accuracy. Not
nine. Okay, so but then you will look into the rest of his weapons, his skilled position players. Najee Harris, superstar. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Cam Akers backing up Najee. I didn't realize that.
Cam Akers backing him up. And he's got Amon-Ra, who's a superstar, and then he's got Hollywood Brown. He had one more. Hollywood Brown is 97 speed, 4th fastest person in the league at the wide receiver position. And then he had one more wide receiver that I really liked, and now it's spacing on me. But then you go, and the most impressive part of his draft was somehow him getting Cameron Jordan, Nick Bosa, Vita Vea all on the same D line. That is
notice here.
What?
Dawson Knox at tight end.
Dawson Knox. Yep, totally forgot. That's who it was. Dawson Knox at tight end. Sorry, my phone closed and my notes I don't have open. Outside of that, but he had. Then you move to the defensive side. I thought he had more of the balanced team.
Speedy linebackers.
Speedy linebackers. Cam Jordan, Vita Vea, Nick Bosa can't get better than that. But then you look at his corners, and he's got Madden monsters. He's got Caleb Farley, Isaiah Rodgers, and Derek Stingley. Those are all good, like I want to say 94 and above speed corners with some size. And then he's got Jalen Thompson, who's a high 80 overall, with Marcus May, who is another good Madden safety.
Marcus May's a monster on Madden, dude. I've had him twice.
Yeah.
Craig Cassidy murdered with Marcus May. He was an MVP candidate 4 years ago for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had by far, to me personally, for a Madden roster, he had the best draft in this. I don't know what you got to add on. I know you got the teams up right now. I'm not by my TV.
I'll be honest. The Eagles kind of disappeared on me. Now you pointed out after taking a deeper dive into it, because I did everybody's analysis and it was
Yep.
real rough over. I was clicking right through, looking purely overall, basically trying to load up my draft grades here.
I was kind of skimming through them too, and this team, like, I was just sitting there, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me go back and look at this, double back, and then I was like, this team is nasty.
I gave the Eagles 12.5 out of 20. I gave them an average score. I actually gave their passing offense a 2.5 because of Ritter and no O line. His rushing offense, I gave him a 2 point. I should actually raise that to 3. Najee and Akers actually aren't that bad. Passing defense, I think I was a little bit rough there. 3.5. That D line and corners are. I think I did Jeremy dirty on the ratings here. It's real rough draft there. For my first team, I hate to admit it because him and I have been tit for tat these last few years. Joey's Colts. I gave them a 15 score, which was the best score I think I handed out to anybody, mainly because of Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, and Mecole Hardman. I don't know if he's ever had 3 weapons like that before, and then what he did with last year with who was his go-to wide receiver? Is it
Um,
Waddle? No,
he had Jalen Waddle in the second season.
second season. I
I had
know
him in the first.
there was somebody I had to focus on defense when I played him in the playoffs last year, but now
Yep, it was Waddle. It was Waddle.
Was Waddle. Now you got Hardman and Hill. I don't. I know he says he's not killing it with Tyreek yet, but I think he's going to figure it out. I think Trey Lance is the issue, not Tyreek. If
I
he
do too.
if he gets any sort of quarterback with those 3 weapons, and he's got Evan Ingram too. So he's got one of the fastest tight ends with those 2 on the outside and Jonathan Taylor if he actually runs the ball this year. He's got a base O line too. He's got a couple 80s on the tackle position. Nothing really for yards, but I mean it's an average O line. There's not many people that even have an average O line in this league.
Yeah.
And then he's even got Chase Young, Grady Jarrett, and Osa. And I'm going to try to pronounce the last name. He's got an above average D line. Chase Young is a monster in this game. Um, Linebackers, he's got speed at the middle linebacker position, just like the Eagles. Jordan Brooks, DeMarvion Overshawn, Miles Jack. I've always loved Miles Jack. And then in that corner, he snuck in a Trayvon Diggs. I don't even know how he could have gotten Trayvon Diggs with Tyreek, Jonathan Taylor. Like, either that had been a 4th round, 5th rounder somehow. Superstar.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, he got him in the 4th. I do want to say it was in the 4th. And I do remember him like, how's this guy? Because obviously I was in a party with him at the time. And he doesn't ever shut up. So he was like, how the hell is this guy still here?
94 superstar Trayvon Diggs. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a nasty pick to get in like the 4th or 5th round.
And
for sure.
These are good too. I don't know where his weakness is. His worst position is quarterback. If he gets a quarterback and sacrifices something, I don't know what you'd sacrifice to. And also, it's Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, which I think is hilarious. But no, that's my top pick there. I don't know who do you want to talk about next year?
I will say that the problem with Joey is the user. He's garbage, and I just don't like him. I will go with. I'm going to say. I mean, my number 2 roster that I really, really, really liked. And I'm not just saying this because I mean he got lucky with the first overall pick. You get Pat Mahomes, and your roster is automatically just top. This is. I've played Madden since I can remember. This is the best quarterback I've ever played with in Madden outside of Michael Vick in, what was it, 07 or 06. But he's got a lot of weapons with him, too. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Drake London. And then he got the second best tight end also, I believe, in Madden, and Mark Andrews. Damian Pierce is a good running back. He's an above-average running back, and he does break a lot of tackles. I've played with him before. He's got a nice truck animation. He's got an average O-line, if you ask me, with some nice high overall DNs, and then Aiden Hutchinson, and oh man, who was his other one?
I said you had Andrews and Deebo. He's got 3 X factors on offense.
Exactly. So his offense is real nasty, and then you
And a
move over.
95 left tackle.
Yes, he has a above average. What I have right here is about above average O line, and then his D line is nice young players with high overalls and
Azeez
huge.
Ojulari, Aiden Hutchinson,
Yeah, and then he's got some
Trayvon
huge
Walker.
linebackers. His linebackers are all big, lengthy guys, and then he's got an above average secondary. I like the roster. I think it's very offensive heavy, but his defense is very above average too, if you ask
Kendall
me.
Fuller, Kyle Hamilton at DB.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I like his draft. He got blessed with the first overall pick and getting Pat Mahomes. So,
And having that back to back is so nice because you can just go to get this position done. Get this. So he obviously
right.
with 1 Mahomes, 2 is probably Andrews, 3 was Debo, I'm assuming, and then he got around and probably got the left tackle, and then probably went defense there. Who
He probably took the first overall lineman off the board because Terry and Armstead, who was one of the, no, probably Trent Williams would be better.
Trent Williams was the first for the Jags, and then I chose Armstead over Tunsil because of Superstar.
Or that's right, he has Larry Tunsil. That's right.
Yeah. But no, that's a solid team as well. I like that team. Good pick. My next one here is a sleeper, in my opinion. The user is improved from start to finish of last year. He actually got in the MVP conversation with Christian McCaffrey last year, and he's got another solid running back this year. So I'm excited to see how he's going to do with them. The Seahawks and Jenkins Blazel.
Okay, my division.
Yep.
I do want to hear this breakdown for sure.
He snuck in Russ right before the last quarterbacks were gone, but he's got Saquon this year. So Saquon with Michael Thomas and Juju Smith-Schuster and Sky Moore and Jaden Reed at wide receiver. Above average. It's not a great wide receiving core, but above average, much better than he had last year.
Yep.
And his O-line is a bunch of monsters. Taylor Lewan, Tevin Jenkins, Jason Kelsey at center. Shaq Mason and Rob Havenstein, all of them over 80. So, and you got Kelsey leading the way at the superstar in the middle there. So he has a much better O-line than he had last year.
He's going to need it in that defense or in that division with the D lines that division has.
Yep. And then D line, that's probably his biggest weakness. Nobody really in the front 3 that I'd be worried about, but he's got Shaq Barrett, Van Der Esk, and Matt Milano at linebacker. So above average second layer of defense there. And then he's got Trey White with Bryce Hall and Isaiah Oliver. So he's stuck in an X factor player on the DB side. And he's got Jesse Bates and Brandon Jones. So you got Jesse Bates and Trey White in that secondary with a decent set of linebackers. It's just if he could develop that front line, that could be a good defense. I'm thinking if he could push the ball, Saquon, eat some clock to get a lead, and people have to throw on that defense.
Yep.
He could be a real sneaky player this year. He improved a lot from start to end last season. I think he almost made the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean,
he started like 2-5, and he won like 6 or 8 or something like that.
Going from CMC and then to Saquon, you know what he likes. I mean, he got what he wanted. It's a good pick. 2 best running backs in Madden to me are CMC is 1, and then Saquon is number 2. If you ask me, that's a good pick. That's a good offense. He's got a lot of weapons, like you said. He's got the O-line to stop some of them D-lines in the NFC West. I know there's some really good, really good D-lines there.
Yep. And then for your last one?
My last one, it's funny who my last one is because it was the CPU take the Jags. Well, you taking the Jags. I think it is probably the most overall balanced team.
I want to add, my wife picked this team.
Yeah, I think she should have to play the whole year then, because she clearly knows more than a lot of us. You got DJ Reader at D tackle. You got Leonard, Shaq Leonard at outside linebacker. You got Mad Max, Devondre Campbell, and those are your 3 linebackers with DJ Reader on the middle. That is a nasty front 7 to me. I think that then you got young Brian Branch out there or back there, and then you got Quandre Diggs, who is a really good safety. I mean, he's
Andre
an
Diggs, she got in like the 10th round, which blew
yeah.
my mind.
I remember seeing him there, but I had already taken my user at the time, Daxton Hill, and I was like, wow, someone's going to get lucky with him. And
Yep.
then you move over to the offensive side. Gino is a workable quarterback, a very workable quarterback. Uh, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and then you got fast KJ Hamler. Those are three weapons you can do a lot with, and then you superstar Aaron Jones, and then X Factor Devontae Adams. The O line, if I remember right, was actually the best that I think I had seen when I was going through most of the rosters.
Trent
Uh,
Williams at left tackle. Frank
yep,
right now at center, so two superstars. And then right tackle 81, Lyle Collins, and then the guards aren't anything to write home about 78 and 74. But yeah,
yeah,
tackles are short up in the middle of the center.
yeah. I mean, so I think it's the most balanced team that I've seen through the draft, and it happens to be your wife that drafted him. So props to her. She clearly knows some of her football.
Absolutely. I'll be fair to you guys. She was on the all positions the whole time. She looked to the left, see what she didn't have, and who was the best available at what she didn't have, and that's all she did. It ended up working out.
Clearly worked out.
And then for my last one here, an homage to the last OG GM in our league, other than myself. He's been with us the full 10 years of this league's existence. Chris Lamb, and probably his best draft in the 10 years he's been in the league. So he got a good quarterback, not great but good, Kirk Cousins, handing the ball off to Josh Jacobs and Kareem Hunt, a good 1-2 back duo there. Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers, Sterling Shepard, Cole Beasley. He's got four good route runners. He doesn't have the speed to
Right.
I mean, it sucks seeing Chris Godwin down to a 90 speed now. I want to say he's been always been 93 to 95.
I
He's
had him last year with Mac Jones, and he was 92 or 93, I believe.
knocked him down to a 90. It sucks to see that, but again, still serviceable. And he's got TJ Hawkinson with Godwin and all those guys. His O line above average. He's got Elton Jenkins, 88 overall left guard, an 81 center, and then 80s the rest of the way there. Left end, Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's a Madden beast in this game. Every time I've had him, he's so tall.
He plays well. He covers the outside run very well.
Yep. The other two linemen aren't anything to write home about, but you got Bobby Wagner in the middle there. Bobby Wagner, another Madden beast. He's still good in this game. He still hit powers and forces fumbles like crazy if he uses them right. I wonder if he's going to make him his user or not. TJ Edwards on the outside with Bowser. Corner, he's got Patrick Peterson and Jonathan Jones, two solid veterans. 92, 94, 92 on Jonathan Jones speed rating. So he's got some quickness there. Sneaky pick at free safety, Jimmy Ward. And then he's got a Jaron Curse, so two over 80 overalls in the state. It's a balanced team.
Ward is a monster. Ward is a Madden monster. I've played with him. He's always been a really, really, really good Madden player.
Like, if you think about it, so you're thinking, how do you attack this defense? Well, you got to run up the middle because his DT's at 75. Okay, you get past the first layer, there's Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner sitting there ready to smack you in the mouth.
We got the outsides now, and you're running it right at Jadeveon Clowney and Akeem Hicks.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let's throw the ball then. He's got Patrick Peterson, Jonathan Jones, Jimmy Ward, and Jaron Curse, which is probably top 10 in the league, I'd say.
Who are his backup outside linebackers or backup DNs? Does he have anyone worthwhile?
Backup linebackers. He has Jason Pierre-Paul.
See, that's something you can sit there and you can move Akeem Hicks to D tackle with that D line. You can move Akeem Hicks to D tackle, and then you can put JPP on the outside, who is also another decent Madden, above average Madden player in my opinion.
I mean, Pierre-Paul, you got 6'6", 270.
Exactly. Put him at DN and
Clowney and Paul, 2 6'6" players on the ends.
with like 400-pound Akeem Hicks.
Good job, good draft, Chris. I'm proud of you. You've always been on the lower side when you come to drafting, but this year you came through. Now we got to talk about the duds. We each picked one dud here.
I'll let you go first.
I'll go first. The dud. I wanted to talk about the Chiefs, but I feel like it's going to come back to bite me at this point. So I'm going to leave you alone, Kenny, because you had a plan and you stuck through. I'm not going to talk about the Browns. The Browns would have been my second, but as a computer drafted team, computer always drafts like crap. So that leads me with probably the second most infamous top 5 pick of all time behind Blake Bortles at number 1 a couple years ago. And that would be the Houston Texans at an 8.5 total grade that I gave them. I'm going to talk shit, Chris. I'm sorry, but Anthony Richardson, and then you don't pick again until pick 59, which means you didn't end up with a top 50 player on your roster. Your number 1 player is Kyle Pitts at 88 overall. Now, it's a really young team. You're going to need to get out to a hot start, build up the overall momentum with this team. It could be there if you start 3-1, start 5-2, something like that, and push it towards the end. But Kyle Pitts, Zay Flowers, Romeo Dobbs, those are Anthony Richardson's weapons. Breece Hall at running back. O-line is 73, 71, 73, 75, 71. You're going to have a tough time against double X factor defenses. I'm talking Bills. I'm talking Bucks. They're not Bucks, 49ers.
It's lucky you drafted a fast quarterback.
Yeah. D-line, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. He went young, but those are 274 overall D ends and an 82 D tackle. So, I mean, at least you got an average D tackle. Jeremiah Rusu-Koromoa, Janine Davis, and Kayvon Thibodeau. I actually don't hate the linebackers on this team.
Mm-hmm.
They actually got some speed. I'm going to give them some props at linebacker at least. And then Tyreek Woolen is definitely worth a top 3 pick or top 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
At a proper time, I feel. That 99 speed is always going to be worth it. And then Luis Sign and Mike Edwards at safety. No speed at the strong safety, but he at least got a 94 speed at the free safety. So, I mean, you got Woolen on one side, free safety on the other. You at least try to protect from the deep ball, hope the linebackers get on the pass rush, build off of that. Offensively, this team's going to throw. I feel like this team's going to have a lot of turnover problems.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I think Chris didn't have the right idea of how the league went, which you had to just pay attention. And then
I mean, I'll give him the excuse on that first one with the Richardson pick, but he knew by
then he kept on going with it.
He knew by round 2 when he went Kyle Pitts, I assume, and Tyreek Woolen, and then the rest of his draft was just young players.
Yeah, I mean they'll develop, but your one season, it's not enough time to develop him into what you want, Yeah. So, I mean, if this was multiple seasons, I would say that's a great roster to start off with. You're not going to win right away, but you got a chance down the road. I guess that moves into my bad draft. I am going to poke the bear here.
You're going tank with Joe Burrow?
No, I'm gonna take. I didn't care for Tristan Cobb's draft. The Cowboys. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's 2-time champ. Say what he wants, but this team I think is going to be hard to win the Super Bowl with. Any team that Baker Mayfield has ever played for has just not gone well. Tristan's a good user. They'll probably develop a little faster. I don't think he cared for quarterback as much like I did. And preseason, I am finding out that it does not help. The only 2 players that he has that are really worth mentioning in my mind were Derwin James and
he had 2 great safeties.
2 great safeties. And outside of that, I mean, there wasn't much to brag about. There was only a few other players that were really above 80. But like I said, I mean, you go through and then
DeForest Buckner.
DeForest Buckner, that's exactly who it was. I'm sorry, I did not write down
Buckner messed me up last night. I played Tristan head to head last night.
Exactly, and he's a great user.
Work, so let's say he did throw 3 picks with Baker. If he has an interception problem versus a good team, I'm just straight up say I'm a mid team. If he has interception problems against a good team, it's going to be a long year for him.
Exactly, and that's kind of where I'm thinking is he might face one of these teams that has a really good defense, and they're gonna just tear Baker Mayfield apart. I mean, I've played with Baker this season. Or in this Madden already. He's not one bit good. And that's really the only thing that outside of those safeties, those were the only two positions that I seen that I really cared for outside of DeForest Buckner too. He took him right before I was going to take him. I was going to circle back my next pick, take Buckner. He did steal him from me. And then he took Jahmyr Gibbs. That's who it was. Jahmyr Gibbs at running back,
Yep.
Who was originally who I kind of wanted just because he is going to develop later on in the season. But even with that, Jahmyr Gibbs is his star running back or his starting running back.
94, 93, 93 for speed, acceleration, agility too. He's quick.
But he's only 5'9". He's a smaller back too.
199, 5'9", yep.
Yeah, so I mean, you might be able to put a lick on him, and you could see some fumbles from Jahmyr Gibbs. So
I didn't get to see him too much last night. He threw 40 times with Baker and ran the ball 5 times. I'm assuming he just was just saving it. But,
yeah.
Well, that's our roster analysis there. We got a lot of matchups that we're keying in here. Just a couple that we wanted to discuss. I'm going to bring this back up. Sorry, scrolling up. There was a few. I did go over every matchup pretty light. I wanted to key in on a couple. The first one, the Chiefs are all the talk of the preseason right now. 75 overall team with 16 players in the top 5 speed in their positions.
Yep.
You dealt with them firsthand. 91-21, not fun. 65-6 is or 65-5 his first game, so no one's challenged him yet. But he's got to deal with Ellis week 1. Ellis is probably I would say he's probably played more Madden than any of us at this point, going season to season. He's in like 6 leagues. So he's definitely who I want to see how he does there. If the Chiefs dominate the Lions, it's time to put Chiefs at the top of the rankings.
Yeah, I can agree with you. These are I think the two guys that I've seen when you can log on, you see the members list. Ellis is always on too. And then it's Kenny, right? It's Kenny. And Kenny, he is always on too. Two guys that probably only have Madden downloaded, it seems. But I will say Ellis has to come out hot. He's got to start hot. He's got to keep leading, and he's got to fight with him. But really looking at that team, the speed at corner position, it was just hard to throw on. I gave up in the first quarter when he already took like a 21 to I think it was 21-3 at the end of the first quarter or something like that. And I was like, yeah, this game's over with. And then he just didn't stop. And I was like, all right, dude, have whatever you want. And he beat the living hell out of us all.
Another one that we're keyed up on right now. Even though he's got Patrick Mahomes, I feel it's going to be a defensive battle. Mahomes against Micah Parsons and Chris Jones. That's the Steelers and Niners. I saw the Niners firsthand. Hard to get that ball off in time. Granted, I had Deshaun Watson, not Justin Herbert at the time, but I think I threw 150 yards, 50% completion, got sacked 10 times. He is back there immediately. So if he's planning on using Mahomes, he's going to have some sort of quick pass offense ready.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good game. I think that I do think Austin's going to end up pulling it out, and that's just because of Cody Morrow not really having a quarterback. Yeah. He's got a great defense, but you are going still against Pat Mahomes, who's going to somehow score. He's going to score somehow. Cody Morrow, no offense really, with no quarterback. So
that's what even the game. He had some red zone issues. He was moving the ball right on me, but his red zone issues were pretty bad. His quarterback
exactly.
So I picked him off 3 times, including a pick 6 in the red zone. So I mean,
low scoring game, and that's what it's really going to come down to is Austin's just got to keep that lead.
Of course, we got our money game. We're not going to go too much into that as we have that portion coming later. The last game we want to key up on, rivalry game. They've already been talking smack. That's, of course, Simeon and Jay, the Dolphins and the Chargers. You got a run-heavy team and a pass-heavy team going at each other. Time of possession, I think the tempo of the game is going to be who wins that game.
I'm going to take Simeon. I like Simeon. He just went and got his
Jalen Hurts, man.
He just went and got his quarterback. He wanted.
You have to give up DK, but you got Devonta Smith and Kadarius Toney alongside Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
So sick.
And Jalen Waddle. The offense, I think, is going to be too much in the end for him to, or for Jay to keep up with. You stop the run against Jay, we all know. Don't let it come down to a field goal. Jay will never live that down. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think in the end, I got Simeon winning by at least a field goal.
If Simeon takes a 2-score lead, this game's over. Jay cannot pass the ball.
Mhm.
So if Simeon gets out to a hot start, say he nails a deep ball first drive, I'd be really worried if I were Jay. But if he can keep this game close and they depend on his running capability, you got Tony Pollard again, 7.4 yards per carry of Pollard last year. He can control the tempo, run that clock. So that it's going to be very interesting to see. If I'm Jay, I want ball first.
Yeah.
You want to set
Yep.
the tempo in that game.
Set that tempo, man.
That is our 3 key mentions for next week. Again, I shared a little snippet for everybody there. I've only got 6 minutes left in the stream, so any closing points here?
No, I'm just ready for week 1. I'm glad it's finally here. So.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, thanks for coming on. We'll be back next week. Kind of a dual show like we did today. We're gonna have an interview with the Vikings and Eagles. We got Ty's favorite team on next week. We're excited to see how Jeremy responds to your credits here. Have a good week, everybody.